If you are pregnant or you're planning to be, you might be interested to hear that new guidelines from the National Institute for Health and Care Excellence. They say that any alcohol consumed in early pregnancy, even one drink you may have had before you even got the positive test, will be recorded and noted on your child's medical records forever. Now, one writer has hit back. She says it's the nanny state judging pregnant women, a draconian dismissal of a woman's rights to control her own body, and could make an already anxious time turn into one filled with guilt and fear. I kind of see both sides of this a little bit, Nadia, but well, I think... Would you be quite open and being very honest about... Because we're talking about before you've even known you're pregnant.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I think it's too much of an emotional response to it. I mean, when I got pregnant with Maddie, actually, both my daughters, I had no idea that I was going to get pregnant, because I didn't think that I could and all this sort of stuff. And I drank like an absolute fish. I was drinking like a maniac. It was some of my heaviest drink. Before I had my children, I was drank way too much all the time.
You weren't planning it.
No. And then when I found out that I was pregnant, oh my God, I felt so awful. And I was just constantly looking for what I could have done and what damage I would have done. And it was a really, really scary time. Actually, probably if I could have just... If this was just a standard thing, you know, like, what's your weight, what's your blood pressure, do you smoke, have you drunk? And it's just a tick list, it's stats and facts being taken down so that whoever the medical professional is knows what's gone on in your body and therefore your baby. I just see it as kind of stats. Maybe I would have had a conversation with the doctor and said, you know what, I was caning it a bit at the beginning. You know, what's that going to mean? And they might say, they might have been able to actually assure me or say, you know, maybe not taken some of that anxiety away from me.
Yeah, but why does that need to be on your record?
Because...
You could just have that conversation without it going down on record.
What if there is something, because we still don't know the full effects of alcohol. Like some stuff I read, it says it passes through into the womb. Others, it says at a certain age it's fine. But what if they find out later that it can affect something? It could affect something. Why shouldn't it be on your medical record?
Because then when that problem comes up in your child later in life, you then say, well, this has happened, and then they would say to you, did you drink heavily in your, at the very beginning of your pregnancy? And you'd have that conversation. But if you put it on record, that is, for me, nanny state, and it's data, and data can be abused.
Well, what about your blood pressure?
You don't know if further down the line... Well, blood pressure's not really something that, you know, is integral to your child's life, and that goes on your child's record.
Well, but you've got high blood pressure when you're pregnant.
What if you go for a job
that they take...
What if you go for a job 10 years later and that data gets used and they go, oh, we see that you drank quite a lot, Ms. Sawala. We don't want to give you a job because you've got a problem with...
Would you be able to look at your medical...
This is what I say, data gets abused, you know, the nanny state. And for me, I don't think it's necessary. And there's 640,000 women give birth in the UK every year. There's 7,000 babies born with fetal alcohol syndrome, right? So you're saying that the other 633,000 women who might just have a drink before they know they're pregnant, the minute they get pregnant, they stop drinking and they're responsible, they're going to be judged by those 7,000.
But do we really know? Is this about gathering data because we don't really know how alcohol affects the fetus? And the thing is, if you don't want to tell the truth, you don't have to tell the truth. I mean, the flaw in it is
we do know
you can lie.
You know, fetal alcohol syndrome, a head that is smaller than average, poor growth, distinctive facial features, movement and balance problems.
That's quite an extreme thing.
But that's not in people that have a drink, you know, a few drinks before they know that they're actually pregnant.
Yeah, and it is that having to be honest, Judi. I mean, how would you feel about that if you were going to the doctor? You know you've maybe had a couple of glasses, but you just don't want to have it on your child's records for the rest of their life.
No, I think what Jane's saying is quite true in regards to data. And I think the real issue is really prevention is better than cure, but what is the aim to this? Because the reality, after a while, people will clock on, and these mums, if they are ones that are abusing this, like Jane was saying, it's about the abuse of it, then they're going to get to a situation where they lie anyway. You know, after you have this data, are you going to have someone to support these mums? But you're not going to be with them 24 hours. So in the hour that you send support, the other 23 hours, they still might drink. So for me, it's what is the aim and how is this going to literally help this unborn baby and even after it's born?
Yeah, exactly. Well, 2020, the chief medical officers for the UK recommend that if you're pregnant or planning to become so, the safest approach is to not drink alcohol.